Hey, it's Metal Matthew coming at you with another video. So what do you see when you look at this stick right here? You'll see a RAP4 by Hori. Now what I see is just another RAP4 by Hori. There's nothing wrong with it. All the sticks, all the buttons, all the buttons work, no problem. But I like to have a little bit more my RAP4 from Hori. You know, I like to customize as best as possible. If you watch my last video, my unboxing video, you notice that you'll hear me talk about how the artwork is not easily changeable. So I'm going to have to go with more stick and button modifications or customizations. So today I'm going to be just worried about the stick. Today I'm going to be just doing the ball top, the dust ring, and the shaft cover. I'm also going to be going to change in the restrictor plate and the spring for it. I like a little bit, this is a little loose for me, it's not bad, nothing wrong with it. I like it a little bit stiffer, so I'm going to put a little heavier spring in it so to make it a little bit more rigid for me. And then in a couple days I'll probably be changing the buttons out. No big deal. So let's get set up at the workstation and start this customization. Alright, if you notice that we've definitely changed locations. So I'm going to be showing you what I got. So I got a couple things, something simple. Hold up, I gotta find my camera angle. I got a silver ball top. I got the shaft ring, shaft cover, and the dust ring that goes just between the shaft and the housing itself. It looks like a regular washer, but I went with all silver on this one. Plus, like I said, I'm going to be picking up, putting in a slightly heavier spring. I think this is a 2-pound spring. I can't remember. This came with another kit that I had in there. And I'm also going to be putting in this 8-way restrictor plate. Now, because this is a Habusa stick, I have to use a slightly different one than a San Juan, which would look like this. If you notice, there's only 4 corners as opposed to this one, which it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's got the 8 positions that it can stop in 8 corners. You know, it's something new. All these parts actually came from Focus Attack, but if you don't like going with them for whatever reason, there are plenty of other places such as Arcade Shock. There's Canadian Joystick. There's a few other ones. You probably even get it from Amazon if you really wanted to. So that's what I'm going to do today. Some other options you could do if you didn't want a ball top would be something like a bat top like this. If you're familiar with older like MK games, that's pretty much what they use. The only thing is with using bat tops, you do need this little adapter because the stick threads are going to be smaller than for the bat top. The other option I've gone with before is this. This is a JLF breakaway. So if you pull up on here, this will separate from, this will be in your stick or in your stick housing itself, and this will come on top. So it's easy to remove the top of it for storage reasons, travel reasons. If you like to change your ball top on the fly for whatever reason, it's easy to do this. It's hold secure, no problem. The only thing is, if you like these shaft covers, you're not going to be able to use them because, you know, this is going to get in your way. I'm not going to do this today. I might do it in the future, I don't know, but that also is an option. Since I'm going to be taking off the spring, I'm going to be taking off this E-clip, right? So as you can see, it's very easy to lose. So if you're doing anything with spring changing or even changing the shaft out, whatever, you might want to just pick up 1 or 2 or a dozen of these or whatever. They're 25 cents. They're well worth the money for their functionality. So if you're changing out, if you're going to take off the E-clip, buy 1 or 2 of these, because next thing, if you don't, more likely it's going to go flying across the room. You can't find it, now your stick is pretty much useless, because that little 25-cent piece is what holds everything together. Okay, so for this customization, you need a couple of simple tools: Phillips head screwdriver, possibly a flathead screwdriver, and maybe some pliers, and that should be about it. It's super simple. You know, I've done this several times. And if you notice, I got the stick propped up on a couple fighting Bibles, just so that the stick has easy access to move around and nothing gets smushed, whatever. So if you notice in here, right here, there was the initial warning sticker that says if you tamper with this, you're voiding your warranty, which, as you can see, I've already done it. There's the initial hole I removed. Now normally that'll be here, but I just moved out of the way so I don't have to fool with it later. So basically I have these 7 screws. It's an odd number, but that's so go ahead and take out these screws and then open it up from open the inside up. Alright, so now that we got all the screws loosened, I will carefully remove this and set it to the side because we're not going to need this until the very end. So this is what the stick looks like inside. You got all your buttons over here. Like I said, in the next couple of days I'll take this apart and well, take out the buttons and change them out. Now if you had like a Mad Catz T stick, it makes it a lot easier to modify, change out buttons, but I don't have one of those, so this is what I do have. That's where your stick is at. So you got your E-ring here, and then you got your restrictor plate. Now I'll take off the restrictor plate first, and then while I have that off, I'll go ahead and change out my spring. Alright, so now with that moved, you got all your micro switches. Alright, so while I have this exposed, it might be a slightly bit easier to remove this E-clip and change the spring out. Once you get it started, you can just work your way around it. Alright, so it's off now. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and retrieve it. So I take off my top actuator. Here's your spring. Alright, I believe this is a 1 pound spring. I'm not 100% sure, but I know the one I have to the side is a heavier spring. Alright, so I retrieved that. So I go ahead and keep the bottom actuator where it's at. And I mean, the springs don't look any different, but if you feel them, you can definitely feel the different resistance level. Now here's where the hard part really comes into play. So you have to hold everything together and put it on your E-ring. And keep in mind that there is a slight little groove right in here. Right, so this is where you're trying to put your E-collar or your E-clip in. So all that is what makes this one of the more challenging things in today's customization. So I'm kind of holding everything together and pressing down at the same time. I might actually have to take out a book or two just to press it better against the surface. Alright, so I have it started, and depending on how tough your fingers are or your determination level, you may need pliers for this. I'm going to try to go without that route. These things do not want to go on or come off easily. I'm going to try a pair of needle nose, see if I can get them on a little bit better. Alright. That's why I say, like, just in case you break that or lose it, it wouldn't hurt to just buy an extra one. They're, like I said, they're dirt cheap. It's easier. It's better just to spend a couple extra quarter, 45 cents, whatever it comes out to be. That way, if you lose it, you break it, whatever, you have another one. So before I put this restrictor plate back on, I'm going to go ahead and change out the top of it, and that's very simple, especially compared to what I just did. So with a flathead screwdriver, you're going to put it in the slot of the underside of the joystick, and with your other hand, you're going to be grabbing the stick, and you're simultaneously going to loosen them both. without having your stick slide all over the place. And once you get it loosened just so it breaks free, then you can take off your screwdriver and you can hold it with your hand and just de-thread your ball top. And we're going to take off all the old stuff and put on the new stuff. And same thing, once you get this tight enough to where your shaft itself starts spinning, then you're going to do the opposite. You're going to put your screwdriver in on the flat side on the bottom, and you're going to hold your ball at the same time, and you're going to pretty much just snug them up. So now we're going to go ahead and put the restrictor plate on, and then we'll be done. So it doesn't really look like there's a wrong way to do it. Alright, so now it's a slight difference. But here's what the old plate looked like, where it had its square, or it had its four corners, where this one has its 8 stopping points. Feels more circular in motion. So let me go ahead and put this back plate back on, and then after that the only thing left to do is just to test it out. Okay, with the last screw tightened on, flip it over, and now we have the start of our own customized stick. And this definitely does feel tighter on the spring. Definitely has more tension to it. Better, a little bit more to my liking. It seemed like with the stick that comes with it, it's too floppy for me. I like a little bit tighter. And so now the only thing left to do is just to test it out. Alright, so here we are back, and just a comparison to moving left and right and left and right, and well, I didn't do anything with the button, so that shouldn't have a difference. But so for me, like I said, I like a little bit tighter of a stick. That's what that spring does, and it definitely does make a considerable amount of difference. It doesn't feel loose like I thought it did before. Now, just keep in mind that any of these mods, customizations, aren't going to make you a better player. They're just more for cosmetic reasons. So if you're a terrible player, it's not going to make you to a great player. But it's just a way to make it your own. So that's pretty much the end of this tutorial. And like I said, in a little bit of time, I'll be changing the buttons out. And that's an even simpler mod. That's unscrewing, unplugging, replugging, you know, they snap into place, but you know, in a couple days you'll see that one. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully you'll join me for my next episode. Thanks.